This is your one and only 𝐈𝐸𝐸 with your daily dose of video goodness, and today I'm going to show you how to quickly and easily beat Tristan the Vampire Hunter in 𝐕-Rising. Let's get to it. So when you get to the point you are able to fight Tristan, or when you get to the point where you should be fighting him, you should be pretty far into iron and be farming it and have iron weapons. However, I'm going to show you how effective this setup is under leveled. So for this setup, I'm going to be using the Merciless Copper Axes, and I'm going to be using the Merciless Night Stalker set and the Gravedigger Ring and the Traveler's Wrap. And obviously anything that you can do to be a higher level or equal level to him is going to make the fight easier. For this fight, I will be level 38. So the setup I'm using for this is 100% Scholar Blood. This one is almost like I have to. Just play the game as soon as you get jail cells, as soon as you get into iron, start hunting 100% Scholar Blood and get one over to your base before you decide to fight any other boss past that. This is going to make the fight so much easier for you. Although you don't necessarily have to have it, it's just going to make the fight insanely easy. The next two things we're using that makes this fight super easy is Chaos Volley. And once again, Ward of the Damned. This is just so helpful for these bosses that don't have a ton of AoE attacks. It distracts them and gives you plenty of breathing room. Now, the reason we are using Chaos Volley for this fight, unlike our other fight with Jade the Vampire Hunter, is Tristan doesn't hop around nearly as much as Jade, doesn't go invisible or any of that. So landing both Chaos Volley bolts should be much easier. If you are in a situation where you have a difficult time landing both of them or aiming, I highly recommend swapping out to Shadow Bolt. But like I said, you shouldn't have too much problem hitting him. He stands still a lot and makes it easy to hit him. For our dash, we are using Veil of Frost. At this point, you should have it, but you should be, like I said, into iron, which means you should have beaten the guy that gives you this at that point as well, because this is also the guy that gives you jail cells. And that's it. With 100% Scholar Blood and using these spells here, this fight is an absolute piece of cake. So let's take a look at how the fight should go down and talk about it. So just like with Jade, you want to take your time and stalk Tristan until he gets to a location where you can kite him off the road into an area where you have plenty of visibility, plenty of room to move, and you don't have to worry about anybody else jumping into the fight mid-fight. His two most threatening moves are the jump attack that he does because it has very little wind up and it does a bunch of damage, and when he throws the bomb that covers a large area of the ground in fire. One of the things you can do to help mitigate any fire damage that he does, because he does shoot a fire arrow which will light you on fire as well, is to drink one of the fire resist brews. I highly recommend drinking one of these before you go into the battle, if you have one. If not, you should still be able to pull this off because this setup or build that we are using for this is extremely effective for this boss. Now, he does not have as many audible cues as Jade has, but he does have long windups on a lot of his attacks, as you can see when he lines up to do the frost attack with his sword or his fire attack with his sword. Even when he goes to throw the bomb that lights the ground on fire, there's a ton of charge up for that. And when he shoots with his crossbow, there is also a ton of charge up for that as well, giving you plenty of time to line up so that you can ensure that he hits you and you can proc the shield in order to spawn one of the skeletons to keep him distracted. As long as you can keep him distracted with a skeleton, you can just set back and pummel him with Chaos Volley, and it makes this fight an absolute piece of cake. And you can see multiple times throughout this fight, I purposefully line up with him so that I ensure that he hits me, or I stand there so I ensure that he hits me as well. One mistake I do make is I usually proc the shield way too soon. You can easily wait until you see him draw the sword back before you proc the shield. It gets a little sketchy at times where the shield almost runs out right before he hits me. I had also ended up kiting him back to one of my bases, and I had left some mosquitoes there from previous testing that I was doing for another video when I was talking about how bad mosquitoes were, and they even joined the fight, and I was still able to pull this fight off with very minimal health loss. And you can see that he is level 46 and is red, showing that we are extremely underleveled for this fight. But because we have that 100% Scholar Blood and we are using the constant distraction of skeletons, it doesn't really matter. The last thing I want to point out is that he does not lead with any of his shots or any of his abilities. So when he pulls out that bow, you want to stand exactly where you were when he pulls it out, because that is where he is going to fire. He doesn't move with you hardly at all. So if you want to make sure that you get hit by the bow, you need to stand in the spot that you were when he pulls out the crossbow. Alright, and that is pretty much it for this one. If you enjoyed this video, if you found it helpful and informational, consider hitting the subscribe button and the notification bell so you can be notified when I upload other videos. I want to give an absolute massive shout out and thank you to my supporters on Patreon and my channel members for helping to keep these videos sponsor free. You all are absolutely amazing people. If you would like to join my elite crew of Patreon supporters, please check out the link in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought. If you're shy, you don't like to comment, just hit that thumbs up button and show your support. Until next time, thanks for watching.